What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Tim, back with another video, back with another walk and talk, out taking a walk on a beautiful morning here in Bozeman, Montana. It's probably in the 40s, the sun is shining bright, but there's still a little snow on the ground, so you still get that winter feel going on. Beautiful day, especially considering we had those negative temperatures for a week or so. So I'm just out enjoying myself, just walking around, seeing the sights. There's even like birds chirping. It's beautiful. Spring is on the way, folks. Anyway, just wanted to talk a little bit today about minimalism. Okay, I don't talk as much about minimalism on this channel as I used to. I probably need to do more minimalism videos. I know a lot of people subscribe to this channel because of the minimalism content. And I still get when I'm doing live streams, which if you haven't caught a live stream, folks, you need to tune in. We have a lot of fun. But during live streams, I get people asking me questions about minimalism. And I love answering them. But one of the things I found is that I think a lot of people, especially when they're first discovering minimalism, I think a lot of people have kind of what I feel, and keep in mind, folks, these are just my opinions, but some people have like misconceptions about what minimalism is. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what minimalism is not. Okay? What minimalism is not. And the first thing I want to say is that it is not a religion. It is not a doctrine. There are no 10 commandments of minimalism. There are no tenets of minimalism. There's no minimalism mecca you can go to. Okay, minimalism is a very personal. Now I will say it is kind of spiritual. Okay, on some level I think minimalism is kind of spiritual, but there's not any rules. Okay, a lot of times as humans, we find out about something and we just naturally want to know what the rules are. How do I become a part of that? If I'm a minimalist, what are the rules? What do I have to do? And there's no shortage of people who will sell you ideals on what you need to do to be a minimalist. I don't know why this is. As humans, we're always naturally looking for rules, and we're always trying to give people rules. So you will see a lot of people saying that there's a certain amount of possessions you have to be a minimalist, or if you own certain things, you're not a real minimalist. All this type of stuff. None of that is true. It is a very personal, very spiritual experience in which you live with just enough. I used to say minimalism was living with less. I've changed that. Minimalism is living with just enough. Because I think saying less gives people the ideal that they always need to be getting rid of stuff. This is not true. Minimalism is living with just enough. Okay? And a lot of times that does mean, especially when you come from, a Western society, Western civilization, where consumerism is rampant. And we're just taught to buy. Get bigger, better, not even better. Better. We're taught to get, more, bigger, more expensive, prettier, all that, So a lot of times for those of us in Western society, it does mean living with enough, usually does mean getting rid of some stuff. But basically what minimalism is identifying areas in your life where you have more than you need and cutting back in those areas. That's all it really is. Okay? It's just identifying areas where you're like, honestly, I have more than I need. And because I have more than I need, it is actually hindering my life. It is obstructing freedom in my life. And then you just get rid of some of that stuff until you get down to the level where you're like, you know what? I think I got enough. I think I'm good. Also, this can change. You may downsize, declutter, whatever, to a certain level, and then something changes in your life and you feel like, hey, I need more now. Or it might go in the opposite direction. You might, hey, I can get rid of some more stuff. But it's really very personal. And it's really just this overall lifestyle of doing what works for you and what's right for you. And the goal is not to get on the internet and talk about how little you have and show how few possessions you have. Sometimes I think when we try to make a big deal and show the world how few things we have, we're just as stuck on possessions as the consumerists are. They want to show the world how much they have and get some type of props from people from having a lot. If I go around bragging about how little I have, I feel like it's the same game. I'm trying to get props, trying to get accolades, pats on the back for having less. Minimalism should not be about showing the world how little you have. That's what minimalism is not. Okay? Just like it's not real admiration when someone tells you, oh, you know, thinks they're better than you because they have more than you. It's not real admiration. If someone thinks they're better than you because they have less than you, it is a personal, like I said, I keep saying, a spiritual thing. You know, you have to sit with this stuff. You have to figure this stuff out. In my life, what really do I need? What don't I need? What do I want to get rid of? What do I want to keep? And you don't have to show the world. Now, you can talk about it if you want to, cool. But I just see a lot of people who, from my opinion, just seem way too wrapped up in possessions, even though they're talking about getting rid of possessions. I have just, you know, the right amount of possessions I need. That's as much as I think about possessions. And pretty much all of my possessions are, you know, they're tools. I have this jacket because I need a jacket, okay? Yeah, I like the jacket, which is nothing wrong with liking your possessions, but that's as much as I think about it. You know, so minimalism definitely is not about bragging or thinking you're better than other people. How would you ever know? Y'all hear those birds chirping? I told y'all the birds are out. Like, especially like when people say, oh, you know, 100 possessions or less, and you're a minimalist. That makes absolutely no sense. What if I have a lifestyle where to do my job, I have to have a huge toolbox of 200 tools? You're gonna tell me I'm not a minimalist? Like, it just doesn't make sense, you know? So like, I think what I'm really trying to say here is like, don't ever compare your minimalism with anybody else's, okay? Like, don't ever compare your minimalism with anyone else's. Don't ever let someone tell you what a real minimalist is. Because honestly, if it's just living with enough, only you can identify what's enough for you. Nobody else can tell you this. Nobody else can tell you this. Only you can identify it. You know? I also hear a lot of people ask me questions and they're like, and I know minimalism can affect all avenues of your life. I totally agree with that. But people will ask me things like, as a minimalist, how does that affect how you eat or how you cook? And I'm like, it really doesn't. Like, A, I don't know how to cook, so it definitely doesn't affect how I cook. But I'm like, it doesn't affect how I eat. Like, I eat the foods I like to eat, you know? And just other areas where, like, I'm trying to think of another example where someone asked me, like, as a minimalist, how does it affect this? And I'm like, minimalism doesn't take over your whole life like that. You know, as a nomad, how does minimalism affect you? I'm like, the two, like, really don't have that much to do with each other. I'm a nomad because I like to travel around, don't like to stay in one place too much. And I'm a minimalist because I like to live with just enough. Now, since I am a minimalist, it makes it easier to travel around. But like, the two really don't go together. And I think a lot of times people feel like, oh, if I say I'm a minimalist, then I have to adjust every single aspect of my life because of minimalism. That's not true. Do what you love. Do what you love. The reason, me personally, I am a minimalist because, once again, living with just enough allows me more time, more energy to do the things I love to do. You know, not having to worry so much about possessions frees me up to, like, do the things I want to do, you know? But it's not like, you know, when I become a minimalist, there's a burden of having to change all these areas of my life. I think if any changes are going to take place when you become a minimalist, they're going to take place. They're going to take place. Okay? I just don't want, I think the real purpose of this video is I just don't want people feeling burdened and getting stressed. Sometimes I see people get stressed because, like, man, this minimalism thing, you know, it seems cool, but I just don't know if I can do X, Y, Z or A, B, C. And I'm like, don't do it. There's nothing you have to do. You can get rid of one thing and be a minimalist. You can get rid of nothing and be a minimalist. You can get rid of everything and be a minimalist. Like, there's no rules. There's nothing you have to do. It's not like it's an organization that's got, you know, 10 commandments nailed to the door, and if you don't follow them, you can't come in. No. It's just really like a way of living in which you don't burden yourself with excess stuff. That's really what it is. It's just a way of life where you don't burden yourself with excess stuff. Like, you don't even have to call yourself a minimalist. I'm not fond of labels, and minimalism is one of the few labels that I will actually put on myself. But sometimes I wonder if I should like, I do it for, like, YouTube purposes. You know, it would be hard to label this video if I didn't put minimalism in it, you know what I mean? But sometimes I'm just like, do we even need the label minimalist? Like, you know, it's just, Some people don't have a lot of stuff. Some people want more time, are more focused on spending their time and energy on, you know, living life instead of this mindless, zombie-like acquisition of possessions. So like, yeah, anyone can be a minimalist. Anyone can call themselves a minimalist, and no one else can say they're wrong. No one can ever say you're wrong. So don't ever think like there's things you have to do to earn your minimalist card or to stay a minimalist. No, you're just the type of person who likes to have just enough and then live their life. Talk to y'all later.